So my name is Tom Dang. This is Double Hockey Sticks, and today I'm joined by Sebastian Russo of Dripping. Sebastian, how you doing today?
Marvelous, marvelous. Doing great today. How are you?
I'm doing all right. It's a pretty decent Saturday. Um, so yeah, I thank you very much for reaching out about doing this interview. I know there are plenty of people around the world who are very excited to see Dripping back on social media, reissuing some old releases. First up, I did want to take it back to the Cadaverment days,
Let's do it.
when you guys were just starting out. I'm curious to know how you met Bruce and Tom.
Well, one second. So I used to work at a guitar center. So Bruce, I used to live in North Jersey, and I worked at a guitar center in Totowa, which is kind of close to the area where Bruce lived. And he came in to buy some drum stuff. I think we said hello. I think he was wearing a Morbid Angel shirt. And I'm like, hey man, I'm into death metal. You know, uh, me too. I'm into death metal. Are you in a band? They had him and Tom had something going. I forgot the name of them. I think they were called Retribution. I don't remember the name.
Mm-hmm.
To make a long story short, he's like, well, I play. I'm like, I play guitar. He's like, well, I'm a drummer. I'm like, well, I'm looking for a death metal drummer, and why don't we jam? And then we went to Bruce's house, which was a town over, and that's how Cadaverman got started. And then he's like, listen, I've been with Tom my whole life. Anything I do, I got to bring Tom. So Tom came in and Tom played bass.
Very sick. So you guys released a couple demos as Cadaverment.
But there's more to that. Sorry. We have time, right?
Absolutely, we can record as long as we
Okay.
want.
So so it was Tom, Bruce, and Tom lived in Passaic. I don't know if you're familiar with North Jersey at all. Okay, well, Tom, the pretty urban, urban ghetto neighborhoods. Tom lived in Passaic. Not to be, I'm not like down talking. I'm just saying we all came from pretty urban neighborhoods. I'm from Kearny, New Jersey, right next to Jersey City, right next to Manhattan. Tom lived in Passaic. Joe Lorenz lived on the corner from Tom. And Joe would always hang out with Bruce and Tom. And Cadaverman, we didn't have a singer. And Joe was pretty buff, and he was a wrestler. He did like the minor league wrestling, underground wrestling. So we're like, he kind of reminded us of like Frank Rini, the first singer of Internal Bleeding, So we were like, Joe, why don't you sing? And he just got on the mic, man. And he was so tough. It for that time, for then, it was what we wanted. It was just brutal, tough death metal dude, big, just a big dude wrestling, and that's how Cadaverman got started. And that was Cadaverman. We practiced out of Bruce's basement. Thank God for his parents who put up with us for years, and that was Cadaverman.
Very cool. How did you guys record the demos for Cadaverment? Was that all done by yourself?
No. Basically I used to be, so when I met Bruce, and so I was in a band called December, which you probably hear, God rest his soul, Mario, he sang The Highs on the Dripping album. Mm-hmm. I was in a band called December. I went to jail. I had to do a bid. When I went to jail, they kicked me out of December. So then I was in no band. And I got out of jail. I was working at Guitar Center. That's when I met Bruce and those guys. But Jerry, the guitar player, was like, listen, December recorded at this studio in Hoboken. Why don't you guys go there? They're pretty cool. It's called a pitching club. So it used to be like an old pitching club turned into a recording studio. And that's where we recorded the Cadaverman's first demo. And I think the second demo, I should say.
Okay.
Which was awesome. It was a great experience.
Hell yeah. So then you guys became Dripping. And I wanted to bring up there is a live video of Dripping. I think it's the only live video that exists on the internet of you guys.
Yeah.
It's the show where you're opening up for Brodequin and Vomit Remnants. So I knew that Vomit Remnants ended up helping you guys get on Macabre Mementos label. So I was curious, like, what was it like to open up for them? I don't think they play the States very often, so it seems like a very special show to me. What was that memory like for you?
I mean, it was very overwhelming because we were cadaverment, and you know, we really, I don't know if you heard of all the cadaverment demos. There's two demos. Musically, they were really good, but I think Bruce, it was the time when Devourment and a lot of the guttural stuff was coming out, and so yeah, I'll answer that question. But if you want, do you want me to go how we went from Cadaverment to Dripping?
Sure.
How that happened as
Sure.
well? Okay, so I could just probably do it all in one shot. Yeah, so Cadaverment got to a point. Bruce felt like, you know, Bruce started listening to a lot of guttural stuff. So was I. We were listening to a lot of the Devourment demo was coming out. You know, the Scourge and stuff like that, and we were starting to listen to that stuff, and you know, Bruce felt like, you know, he wanted to take it up a notch, you know, so he kind of said, well, I think we should bury Cadaverman, write some new songs, and come out harder, more towards the guttural hyper grind, you know, stuff. I said, okay, so Cadaverman breaks up, and then we write the 2-song Dripping demo. And I think we sent that to Vomit Remnants. And then before even playing the show, we were already on Macabre Mementos because of that 2-song, the demo, 2000 demo. So they sent us money to record, and then, you know, we play that show. It was amazing. I mean, it was like we just kind of leaped into the big leagues, sort of, you know. I want to say it was an honor to play with, you know, Vomit Remnants, which we were fans of. Brodequin. It was a great show. Great show.
Sweet. Are there any other shows from the original run of Dripping that really stand out to you? Any bands you were super excited to play with?
You know, we did a lot of local shows that we really never announced, and back then nobody ever really recorded. You know, we played with our buddies in Eternal Suffering a lot up in Boston. We played with the Red Chord. You know, Dripping had different vocalists. A friend of mine named Frank Blakely was the vocalist of Dripping at one point. You know, right before the album, and he was an awesome dude, man. You know, we played like Middletown, New York with Scapegoat. We played everywhere. We had some really good shows. We had a really good show in Boston with Eternal Suffering. That was the best. That was a great weekend. We went up to play a show with the Red Chord and Eternal Suffering in Boston, and it was just like awesome show. You know, we partied the whole weekend. I mean, it was great. You know, good times with those guys. Rest in peace, Brian. You know, Chad. Send him a lot of love. You know, we keep in contact. He's definitely a brother of ours. They were a big influence on us, and then, you know, they kind of took us with them and gave us props right away when, you know, we just kind of showed ourselves with our music.
Sorry, the trash truck is right outside my window. I'm gonna close my window real quick.
Don't worry about it.
Okay. I wanted to talk about the recording of Disintegration of Thought Patterns. I saw you guys posted to Instagram that recording that album was not the process that you hoped it would be. I didn't realize there were some complications. So I was wondering if you could talk a bit about that and what it was like to record that album.
Oh, all right. So when it came time to record Disintegration of Thought Patterns, which we were, we had very little money from Macabre Mentos, which was great. It helped out, but we went to, you ever hear of that band Overkill?
Mm-hmm.
Thrash band. So we were friends with an engineer who worked in a studio that recorded all of the Overkill albums, some classic Overkill albums. So we went to record and we kind of ran out of money. I was already checking out. I don't want to say we weren't getting along. I always got along with Bruce and Tom, but I was already kind of checked out from the whole music thing. I was kind of doing something else. So we went in, we laid our tracks. The drums sounded good. Guitars, we laid our, Jesus Christ, I'm sorry. Who is this? Give me one sec. Let me just get these guys.
Take your time.
Sorry about that. So basically I couldn't really do my harmonies. So Disintegration of Thought Patterns, A side is pretty much like your ghost track. It sounded good. We didn't have time, we didn't have money. I mean, we were like, I think that I know Bruce went back for some of the mixing. I didn't. He took the DATs. He owns the DATs, I think. I know he owns the DATs. I only got stuff on CDRs from the days that I've worked there, and then I'd go home and be like, okay, give me that mix down on the CDR. So I got a bunch of those. We kind of ran out of money, ran out of time. Like the guy promised us one thing, and then he raised the price on us, in the back, like, okay, this is what I will charge you. And we're like, okay, great, we'll do it. And then once we're in there, he was like, okay, now I need more money. And we're like, that wasn't the deal. You know what I mean? So he was squeezing us for more money. We didn't have it. And then I think it got to the point that he got physical. Like Bruce told me that like he went in there one time to get like one of the final mixes or the DATs, and the dude was kind of like, get the fuck out of here, here, take it. So we were under pressure. We had to release it to Macabre Mentos. I mean, if the guitar work is really, it's there, but it's not really what it could have been. But it turned out to be what it is, with all the tragedies. People love it. People appreciate it. It is what it is.
Yeah. It's interesting having not known that in the past. I didn't think that it was lacking. The tens of times I've heard the album before.
It was supposed to be so different. It was, there's no harmonies, no lead. There's like ghost leads that were there in place that, was okay, kind of trial leads that were kept on the mix. There's no harmonies, there's no punches, there's no, like pans left to right. There's nothing. It was just kind of like, you're done. Get the fuck out of here. Take it. Like, and the guy kind of fucking screwed us, man. And he acted like he was our friend. He was going to record us. He was going to give us a good deal. And, we paid a bunch of money out of pocket. I was already kind of checking out. I think Bruce dealt with him a lot more. Bruce might have better sounding mixes than I do. I have like some raw, I got like 2-3 raw mixes. And then it was like, we had to submit it back to Macabre Mentos. I sent it in, and those guys worked their magic. They mastered it, and it sounds great. I mean, people love it for what it is, So I can't really. I mean, it was a tragedy that made it an icon, so to speak. You know what I mean?
Definitely. I was real young when that came out. Nowadays, you guys have like a very dedicated cult following. But what was the reception like when the album first came out?
So we were, I'm going to be our fan base, you mean?
Yeah.
Our fan base was our friends that were in bands, you know, people that we would communicate with back in the day. There was an AOL chat room called Unholy Metal, and then bands from the nation would join and we would all chat. You know, we had fans. Europe was always a big supporter, Europe and Japan. In Thailand, Indonesia, we had you know, we had like a buzz, but you know, just had like a local fans, local death metal scene of New Jersey. You know, our friends. It wasn't big back when we were active as a band, you know?
Right.
It
Right.
wasn't what it is now, so to speak.
Well, I'm glad people recognize finally, you know?
Thank you. Thank you.
Um, so when the album did come out, the CD insert has this really awesome introspective like story that I think includes some of the lyrics, but is also more than just lyrics. Um, who,
Yes.
who wrote that story?
That's Bruce. Bruce was you know, he was my right hand man. It was just me and him. Tom Tom would had input, but he would kind of just be like, okay, you know, I'll play whatever what you guys tell me. Not what you guys tell me, but like Tom was like, okay, yeah, I'm cool with that. But Bruce was more like basically management, production. That was all Bruce. You know, that wasn't me. He did his story, and you know, he wanted it to be like a horror movie, gruesome, gory um, killer who was on a bunch of drugs and just, you know, that's his theme. That was Bruce.
Very sick. Yeah, I think it's awesome the lyrical concepts that you guys have. It seems pretty different from a lot of the death metal that was coming out at the time. And it seems like around the Lost Archives tapes is
Yeah.
when you started switching lyrically from, you know, just like pure gore to yeah, the like drugged mind expansion gore that came later.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So was there something that like marked that change? Was there like conversations you guys were having about uh what you
Um,
what
yeah,
you
it was like so. Our first, you know, 2000 demo, we wanted to be a guttural gore grunt. I don't know if you ever heard the second dripping demo. You know, it's actually tuned down to A. It's really, really sludgy.
Mhm.
Um, you know, we wanted to be like gore grind guttural slam. But then, you know, we were always into other types of music, you know, Bruce being humongous into experimental and jazz. Um, I always been into you know, spirituality, traveling the universe, so to speak, you know, extraterrestrial societies, stuff like that. And, you know, we were doing a lot of drugs at the time. I was taking a lot of acid. I know Tom and Bruce were smoking a lot of weed, and, you know, we were just kind of like, yeah, from the, you know, the Lost Archives, you know, I was tripping on acid probably like every weekend, you know, and just writing music and just kind of being in the zone, you know. That was pretty much it, you know, just trying to find myself as a young kid.
That's
Pretty
sweet.
much a death metal hippie.
I think it matches the music really perfectly. Um, you know, the concepts are awesome. The album cover for the first album is so iconic,
Thank
um,
you.
really unique. Um, so now you guys are posting on social media again. I know there's a few things you can't mention just yet, But I wanted to know, is there anything you're ready to talk about the future of dripping?
Well, so basically energy is energy, right? Energy's never really energy just travels through the universe. You can't ever kill energy. So dripping's always gonna be here, trying to keep the name, the legacy alive. Trying to We are doing a few re-releases. We're doing some shirts. This is the last of it. We're doing the last of the Disintegration merge with Brutal Mind with Denny. He's putting out some awesome gear. And just stay tuned, man. Stay tuned because you can't kill energy. Energy will just it's everywhere and it'll just bounce around the universe.
That's awesome to hear. And I will definitely stay tuned and update the listeners of Double Hockey Sticks as more info
I
comes.
love that double hockey sticks, man. That is a I don't know if you know I don't know if you're into hip hop, but Big L used that line, HE double hockey sticks, which it was so memorable. I always love that line. He was so gory, that's why I love that rapper.
Hell yeah. Thank you. Yes. Rest in peace, Big L.
Rest in peace, Big L. Yeah, definitely one of the greatest.
Yeah, it's something I used to say all the time as a kid, before my parents stopped yelling at me for cursing. Um, so you're active in a few other projects, and I know that all of these projects are coming out under Disintegration Records. So I was wondering if you could tell me a bit about who runs that.
So I have excuse me. I just I just demo a whole freaking bathroom, and I probably have some sheetrock dust in my throat. So I started Disintegration Records LLC. It's my company. It's kind of my like production. It's my everything. It's everything that I do. It's my LLC. I own it. I publish all my dripping riffs under Disintegration Records. I publish anything that I did with dripping that was mine, not taking credit away from excuse me, not taking credit away from Bruce or Tom. Everything's published under my LLC, right? I own, my riffs. Disintegration Records is my record label. It's the reason why I started it because I don't want anyone putting out my stuff. So not sure if you know the band Pessimist. On past member, his name is Ralph Reaper. He was in Corrupture in Pessimist. He's a good friend of mine. Him and I once started a band called MAHAKALI. We were trying to do old school death metal. Unfortunately, he's going through some life changes and he's right now battling some things that he can't be involved in the band. So I continued the legacy. Me and a buddy of mine named Juan and a few session drummers put out the MAHAKALI EP. It's old school 90s brutal death metal. Sounds nothing like dripping. It's Morbid Angel, Entombed. It's Swedish death metal 90s, the greatest of the 90s type of death metal. Like Altars of Madness meets, Storm of the Light's Bane, like Dissection-ish. It's black death metal-ish. A little melodic. Sorry, I have some sheetrock dust, man. I just demoed the whole bathroom. I wish it was more melodic than it was. I live in Florida. I live in Southeast Florida. Out of a suburb out of Miami. I'm in Criminal Underworld. We're a hardcore band from Southeast Florida, with, friends of mine, just doing our thing, man, just tuned down, it's like tuned down death metal style, but playing hardcore, just straight in your face, no frills, no politics, straight up hardcore. That's basically what I'm doing, and then I'm doing it's called the Disintegration Project, which is my solo project. Which it's kind of like your, and I'm not saying I'm not no Steve Vai, but it's my solo guitar project. I haven't released any of that music yet. It's progressive metal, rock and rollish.
Very sick. So yeah, Mahakali has Chants of the Wicked out this year, and Criminal
Yes,
Underworld
sir.
also put out a demo this year. I will be playing some tracks from both of those in the show.
I wish you can, man. Thank you. It needs to be heard.
Absolutely. I really like the Mahakali demo. Super sick stuff.
Thank you.
I love touches of melody in that old school death metal. So I think it's really sick.
I'm old. So, I kind of just play from the heart with that. So like it's funny because I posted it's funny because some of the members are like, what do you listen to? And I'm like, I mean, I don't know. I'm into Dokken and Judas Priest. You know what I mean? I'm 48 years old. So, I started in the 80s. As an 80s kid, I wanted to be one of those guitar gunslingers. I wanted to be a shredder, and that's what got me into music. So melody is everything to me. So huge fan of Dissection, huge fan of Melody at the Gates. Stuff like that.
That's what's up. That's really cool to hear. So Mahakali's lyrical themes are sort of revolve around Hindu mythology. How did you get into that?
Okay, I'm a 32nd degree Freemason. I'm a huge follower of esoteric stuff. I read on the occult. I'm big into the occult. Just being a Freemason, and I just dove into sort of I wouldn't call it the dark side of Hinduism, but kind of diving into just reading, just from my research, uh, just kind of my meditation and being into yoga and all that stuff. That's kind of how I bridged everything together.
That's awesome. Very cool to hear.
He is the goddess of everything. So, I'm a symbolism person, being a Freemason, we believe in symbolism. So it just kind of everything just kind of it just doesn't end. It's infinite, like dripping.
Sort of yeah, touching on that. Do you carry a talisman, or are there any symbols that you find particularly personal?
Well, yeah, I mean, I have a square and compass to remind myself of who I am. Being a 32nd degree Freemason, I always live up to, the codes of my society. I live up to my standards. I try to be, a good civilian to everybody. So, I mean, everything I do carry, it's funny because, I try to put it on my skin, so to speak. Life is short, so.
Very cool. And also, sort of just as an aside, if there's anything that I asked about that you'd rather not have in the interview, I will plan on editing all of this so I can easily.
No, you can ask me. I don't want you to edit anything. You can ask me everything.
Okay.
I like to be direct, and I want to tell the world the truth. I want you to just put it all out there.
All right, sick. Okay, so we talked a little bit about Mahakali, but what can you tell us about Criminal Underworld? How did that come to be?
Can I go back downstairs and make another drink? Do
Yeah,
I got 2 minutes?
yeah,
Give me
please.
2 seconds. I'll be right back. This is a good one.
Okay.
Sorry, man. Gotta
No.
hydrate. All right, man. Oh, all right. You ready? Criminal Underworld. Okay, so I grew up in an urban community, Kearney, New Jersey, right next to Jersey City, between Newark, Passaic, and my kitchen window was 4 miles away from the World Trade Center. So I can see the World Trade Center out of my kitchen window every morning. Do you know Gutter Christ
Yes.
from Gutter Christ Productions? Okay, so I met him when I was 12. I was into metal and he was into hardcore. We exchanged tapes. I think I let him borrow some metal. He let me borrow some hardcore. I got into hardcore. I never left the metal side and death metal. I always listened to everything. And I never really got to play in a hardcore band. We all have a mutual friend that we grew up with. His name was Jimmy Riley. I guess he was a rapper at one point. He was just somebody we grew up with in our neighborhood. Make a long story short, you fast track down to 3 years ago. My wife had a company. Jimmy Riley used to work for us. He was living with us at our house in Miami, and we took a bunch of shrooms one day, and we're watching a bunch of crime shows, So we're like, hey, it'll be great if start a hardcore band, right? I'm like, yeah, start a hardcore band. We were watching some dudes out of Europe doing some criminal enterprise, smuggling tons of ecstasy and all this crazy stuff. It was a good show. So, we're all fucked up on shrooms. We're like, let's start a hardcore band. And I'm like, all right, cool. Let's call it Criminal Underworld. I'm like, all right, let's do it, man. So I wasn't doing anything at the time. MAHAKALI was pretty much, I had my, the EP written, but I really didn't record it. I think some of the drum tracks were laid out or whatever. And, I jumped behind my computer. I just plugged in. I MIDI some hardcore drums. I put some riffs together, and I'm like, hey, Jimmy, it's ready for you to do vocals. I did bass, I did both guitars, and I did drums. Drums sounded live too. You can do anything nowadays with MIDI. And unfortunately, Jimmy decided to leave Florida and went back to New Jersey, and he passed away. So the Criminal Underworld song sat, in my hard drive for a very long time, and then one day, for shits and giggles, I told my friend Jose, who lives in Miami, and I'm like, hey, I got this track. I pimped that track out to I've sent it to so many people, and I'm like, here, lay some vocals on it, and nobody ever sent it back to me. I'm like, all right, whatever. So, I send it over to Jose. He comes over one day and just lays vocals on it, and I'm like, dude, killer. This is it. Let's do it. And then I just wrote 3 more songs. We recorded, and then we put out a demo. That was that. And we just wanted to be just tuned down, hardcore, no frills, no politics, no nothing. Just basically in your face.
That's awesome. Yeah, it's a really sick demo. Who did
Thank you.
the art and the logo?
Jose, I think, got someone from the internet, like those guys who do art for sale. They send you a bunch of messages on Instagram. I don't know. I'm being honest with you. I'm not gonna lie to you. I think that's what it is. I had one of my guys do the Criminal Underworld first logo in graffiti, one of my artists, but I have a lot going on right now, so I kind of just pushed it over. So Jose brings Bundy on bass because I played everything on the Criminal Underworld demo, and Jose sang. So then Jose brings Bundy on bass and Gabe on drums. So we're a full band here in South Florida, and we're ready to go. We're ready to kick some ass and have some fun. You know what I mean?
That's awesome.
That's what it's about.
You guys playing live shows?
We haven't played any live shows yet, so we're kind of in the stage. We have 3 songs. We have an intro and 3 songs and a cover. We're playing with a few covers, so we've got to write 2 more songs and once we have a full set, we're going to be ready to play live.
Hell yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's fun, man. It's just fun, you know what I mean? Just tune down, as heavy as you can get it, and just crush.
That's what's up. I think I mostly just have a couple fun questions to end this interview. You guys have a interview with Bruce Lee sampled in that Disintegration of Thought Patterns album. Do you have a favorite Bruce Lee movie?
I think every one of them. I think Bruce Lee is one of my, everything he's ever done. You know what I mean? I can't think of every scene that guy's ever done is my favorite. I see, a lot of people get caught up on his movies, but I like Bruce Lee. I like his poetry more than anything, more than his acting. You know what I mean?
Okay.
His acting was acting, but his poetry and who he was as a person is what I really follow.
Okay, got you. Awesome. Do you practice any martial arts?
Yeah, I do. I just recently had to drop out because I have a lot of things going. I'm in 3 bands: Criminal Underworld, and MAHAKALI. I own my own company. We do like renovations down here in South Florida, and then I have a wife. My daughter lives up in New England. Yeah, I do jujitsu. I do, and it hurts my heart that I had to drop out, but I do. I'm a martial arts person.
Gotcha. Still pretty sick. Are there any like current or new young bands that you've been listening to that you want to shout out?
Absolutely, man. Nuclear Remains. I love those guys. Love them. I mean, these guys are like amazing. They're going to be the next guys. These are the big league heavy hitters. My guys in, if I can say it right, Sangu Sugarbug. I guess those are my dudes too. Those guys are killing it, man, killing it. Yeah, I mean, there's, and then I'm very, very proud of Mortician. I'm very proud of Will and what he's done. He's a brother of mine, somebody who's always looked out for me, man. Took care of me anytime I would run into him. Instant love gratification. That's my guy. I'm extremely happy for Mortician and what they're doing. To me, they're the heaviest band in the world right now, and they're crushing it. And I hope they keep on crushing it.
Hell yeah.
Blood Tie out of South Florida. Yeah, man, that's pretty much it.
That rocks. That's a great list. Yeah, shout out Nuclear Remains. Those are such awesome dudes. I got to meet them just this past year at Idaho Death Fest. Yeah, they're
awesome
dudes, and they're coming to North New Jersey in November, so I might drive out to see them.
Yeah, I wish I could make it, man. I wish I could make it. I know I got to go up to New Jersey for Thanksgiving, but I told them, listen, if you guys are in Florida, you guys are staying at my house. You know what I mean? I told them I cook. I'm a cook. That's my other art that I do. So I was like, listen, you guys stay at my house. I'll cook for you guys all weekend or however long you stay. Hopefully they can do a tour in Florida.
That's so awesome. Yeah, it's really cool to see the way you've been interacting with the current death metal scene and propping up bands like that. It's really cool. You have a great energy that you bring to death metal. It's very much appreciated.
all I have, man. This is my passion. This is what and I only do it. I like to make everybody. I like to please everyone that enjoys to hear dripping. I'm very honored and humbled. When I get, throughout the middle of the night, I get all these text messages from Europe and all these places on my Instagram. And, since we opened up the dripping, thing, I'm just like, I show my wife and I'm like, I can't believe I'm reading this. I'm like, guys, like when we started this, we never thought it would reach so many people. So with that being said, we're going to continue to give back to all of those who appreciate us.
That's awesome. Do you have any final words of wisdom for the listeners?
Be yourself, stick to it. I went to see Mortician at Gramps, about 6 months ago when they played. And I was so honored that I got to see them. And I was just like, wow. I mean, like, stick to what you do no matter what. Don't change your style. Just believe in what you do and just keep pushing forward. And then you will reach the universe will grant you with everything you deserve. And, that's proof is in the pudding. Look at Mortician, man. They never change, It's like, be real, be honest, be kind, hold down to loyalty and your integrity, man, and just keep pushing forward. We're all friends here. Help each other out. You know what I mean? This is not, this is not a raid. We're not trying to be better than each other. You know what I mean? And that's how I take it.
That's awesome. That's great advice. The last thing I'll ask from you is if you would be able to say a station ID so that I can clip that and use that for my show. So maybe just something like, hey, what's up? It's Sebastian from Dripping, and you're tuned into WKDU 91.7 FM Philadelphia.
I got you. I'm just gonna write that down. WKDU?
Yeah, I can say it again.
Yeah, so it's WKDU. Are you gonna video this or is this gonna be a voiceover only?
This will just be a voiceover. You can just say it now and I can clip that audio.
WKDU what?
91.7 FM. Philadelphia.
All right, we might have to take a few takes because I had 2 drinks. So, hey, what's up, everybody? This is Seth from Drippin', NJ's Most Brutal. You're tuned into WKDU 91.7 FM, Philadelphia, home of the hardest and most brutalist metal. Stay hard.
That was sick. That was perfect. Thank you so much, man.
Thank you, brother. All right, you stay blessed. All right.
Sounds good. Thank you, Sebastian.
Keep in contact, and send me those files when you're ready. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much, man. It's an honor to be here.
Have a good one.